we were talking about some of these unlikely teams at the top of the standings here. I'm going to ask you guys, which of these 5 division leaders, now some of these are tied for the division lead, but for the sake of this argument, which of these leaders do you think has the best shot of holding on? The Dolphins, the Browns, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Bears? What do you think, Martin? It seems obvious to me, this answer, but go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like the obvious answer is the Jaguars, but I'm honestly kind of interested in the Dolphins. Just in the idea that I understand that everybody's had the Bills as the number 1 team in the history of the NFL, at the start of this season. But with their injuries in the secondary, that's really concerning because they don't. I mean, they sub a lot of defensive linemen in and out, and that's what the hell allows them to play the shell coverages that they do up top without sending people. If they don't have those guys back there, that's concerning. Offensive line, you saw a lot of the injury, like the injury to Morse. Josh Allen had 3 or 4 bad snaps. That's concerning. And then also, too, the way that, like, Miami's defense was on the field for 90 plays, and Buffalo didn't score like 1 billion points. Like
I thought the coordinator should have gone a little nuts. That would have driven me crazy. He should have shown some emotion.
But it's like that too. You're losing your brain, and because it's like this is the last close game you've had in a long, long time. They remind me of the Warriors in that they win every game by 15, so you don't know if they can win close games or not. So, and you saw them lose a close game.
Well, all right. I'm going to take your argument and actually try to use it against you. 90-39. The Dolphins were very lucky to win that game. The Bills had secondary issues. The Dolphins really didn't for the most. I mean, what did Tyreek Hill do that game? They really didn't capitalize. I think the Bills smoke them when they play it back in Buffalo. And I said on this podcast, if you were going to bet the Dolphins to win the division, do it before last week, because if they win this game, the odds are going to shrink. If they lose, they probably don't have a chance if Allen stays healthy. Now I'm going the other way. I think the Bills at minus 220 to win the division is the way to go. The Dolphins would not be my answer. Sheck, what's your answer out of those 5?
Well, first of all, where the Bills are concerned, it's funny you say that either the Bears or Gents are going to be 3-1. The Ravens or the Bills are going to be 500 after week 4, which is fascinating and also points to how early we are in the season. Still,
it points to first place schedules, and they mean something because you get every week, you get smacked. Versus the other way.
And speaking of first place, the Patriots have perennially been there in the 21st century, and I think they warped the way we regard pro football teams in the sense that, like, unless it was Brady, it didn't make a difference who was in and out of the lineup. They always would win, and you'd be like, well, they can't win without Gronk. Well, they win the Super Bowl without him, and so on. But for the most part, NFL rosters that are comprised of human beings, when high-end players go out, the guy who replaces them in the same jersey is likely to not perform at that same level. Poyer's absence is significant. Trey White's absence is significant to the Bills. And, Trey White's going to come back, and I think he'll be fine for January. But in the short time, the idea that the Dolphins are a mirage, I don't buy that. I think some things are mirages. I think the Dolphins keep this going. But my answer is,
here we go.
Even I'm correct wise about it 5 minutes ago. You know who's got a real shot? The Denver Broncos.
My God.
They're doing nothing on offense. They are an abject disaster with Russ under center or in the shotgun, whatever. And yet there they are at 2-1. Go through their schedule. And, the big one is obviously, again,
go through their
two
schedule.
big ones are
it's all
the
AFC
Chiefs.
West. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got it. I mean, look, Dave, I get it. The Chargers lost 5 Pro Bowlers on Sunday. I understand that your AFC West darling is dead. It hurts me too.
Well, you can't take the Chiefs.
I thought that I thought it was the Chargers' year. Justin Herbert's ribs, that was just a harbinger of more to come. Slater out, Bosa out. Don't do this though. Don't try to replace your darling with this.
That's what he's doing.
This
Martin's
late.
right.
This is a 2 a.m. move, Dave. This is not something you thought about prior. You've had too many. Sit down.
Went through the schedule.
But the thing is, there's no guaranteed win on their schedule because they were losing to the Texans 9-6. They had 5 points against the 49ers middle of the fourth quarter. So if you look at their schedule, where are you going to put the check marks? Like,
look around the league outside of Tua and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. All offenses, even with the biggest name QBs, are underperforming. So by that measure, Russell Wilson is doing poorly, but is he doing that much worse than anybody else is? They're 2-1, and the one that everybody is in on, which is the Jags. I don't know if this counts as a hot take 3 weeks in, and them sitting 2-1. I don't think they're getting past 8 wins. As much as I like them, I think it's awesome, the turnaround and everything. I still go through the schedule, and even though I can boost my season win total for them, I still think they have a losing record. If you go through the record and find, like, the wins out there that get them to double digits and playoffs and all that.
Well, I could say the same for the Denver Broncos, who have been piss poor offensively, go through the schedule. But I will say this. One of the things, I believe me, I was wrong on everything. And I feel like I studied for a final exam for 3 months and got nothing right about this NFL season. I got like a 0 on the test. But you had said, Sheck, that the AFC South winner is going to have the best record or something, right? Didn't you have to say something like that?
Well,
I don't think that's the case. Even though they swept. Well, they swept the AFC West, which was weird. I wonder what kind of odds you could have gotten on that any week. But because they play such tough teams, I think the winner of the division could have 8 wins. They might be able to get to 8, the Jaguars. That's my answer. They're 2-1 to win the division. They're doing it on defense. A lot of these teams are. They've allowed 10 points a game. The last 2 games, they've been gangbusters. I think they're 3rd in the league against the run. And, you want to say Trevor Lawrence, that's great too. They're moving the ball. But at 2-1 in that weirdo division, that's the one I would say. But Sheck, the Broncos, come on. All right, listen, whatever you're betting, teasers, over, under, do it through Caesars because they have all the names. Caesar himself, Cleo, the Mannings, Henrik Lundqvist, and now yours truly. Yes, Against All Odds is now a proud member of the Caesars empire. And you know what it is that sets Caesars Sportsbook and Casino apart from the others? It's the perks. It's the only sports betting app with Caesars rewards. So every time you place a bet, win or lose, you get reward credits, which could use towards game tickets, bonuses, experience free stays at iconic Caesars destinations, and more. And your very first bet, check this out, Harry. It's on Caesars. Up to $1,250. If you win, congrats. If you don't, you'll get it all back as a free bet. That first bet also gives you 1,000 tier credits and 1,000 reward credits, putting you closer to the types of perks only Caesars can offer. So download the app, use promo code CZRFULL, and go full Caesars this season. Martin, you have come up with something. Let's go to the coaching because there's really, when we're dealing with the coaching, you can talk about the offense. I think the coaching has been worse than anything, right?
Yes.
Worse than any of the quarterbacks. So you're going to do this. We're calling this Martin's Meathead of the Week for week 3. And what are you going to do? How does this work?
So I have 3 different.
Spaghetti's a meathead.
Yes,
Spaghetti is a fish head. I have 3 different coaching scenarios, coaching decisions that have been made. I want you and Dave to try to ascertain which one was the most meatiest of heads.
Okay.
All right. So you start Thursday night. The Browns lead 23-14. It's 4th and 5. You trot the field goal team out. They have 12 men on the field. It's Pittsburgh. They have 12 men on the field. 5-yard penalty somehow is not a first down after a 4th and 5, right? So it's 4th and inches. You bring them back out, the field goal team, with 1 minute 48 left. You kick the field goal, you make it. So now it's 23-17. You're still down a touchdown. What good did that do? You're on your own 17-yard line when you kick the field goal. You kick the ball away, and then you end up getting it back in just enough time to go ahead and blow everybody's teaser leg with the pitchy woo-woo, right?
Disgusting.
So, why not go for it on that 4th down? Because you're going to lose the game anyway. And if you get it, you probably may cover that 4.5 that I had.
Well, am I understanding they're 2 scores down, though, right?
Yeah, they needed the ball twice, right? They needed the ball twice. But if you need a touchdown, it's easier to kick a 50-yard field goal than it is to score a touchdown from 50 yards out. You should try to get the field goal second. The Lions up 3, 4th and 4 from the Vikings 36. They've gone for it on 4th down at this point 6 times in the game for 4 conversions because they were 3 for 16 on 3rd down, but that's neither here nor there. The kickers already missed one field goal. So Dan Campbell elects with the 3-point lead, and the Vikings have no timeouts to kick a field goal to go up 6 points, which is useless, right? Because you're going to kick the extra point anyway. 4 yards wins you the game. He misses the 50-yard field goal. KJ Osborne walks into the end zone. 2 plays later, Vikings win. Lions cover. My pup, done.
All right. That's a good one.
Then the Kansas City Chiefs. This one, admittedly, I feel for Andy Reid in this scenario because his all-star kicker, all-pro kicker, he's out of there. He got hurt, sprained his ankle 2 weeks ago. However, going for fourth quarter, fourth down, he had 2 separate opportunities to go for it with Patrick Mahomes. Instead, he decides to throw the ball with Tommy Townsend on a 4th and 11 field goal. And then on 4th and 7, later on in the game, with 8 minutes left, still with the 3-point lead, he elects to kick a field goal with Amendola, who had been hooking them all left and right in pre-games, at halftime, and then he misses that 34-yarder. You take the ball out of the best quarterback in football, depending on who you ask, on 4th down in the game that you end up losing. That's tough.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Shaq, you take it first. I think one of those, I think could go 50-50. I'm strong on another one, and then I have go ahead. You do it first.
From that trio, and it probably is the most meat-headed, and it's optimal that it would be Dan Campbell winning the inaugural Meathead of the Week award there. Yes, all the rah-rah stuff is fine, and he's got the guys playing well and everything, but that was a tactical misfire there that cost him the game, and being 2-1 and all of that. I do have to say very quickly, you must be more aggressive, as Mike McCarthy, of all people, was on 4th and 4 at the Giants 41 in the fourth quarter of a tight game. With Cooper, he goes for it. This leads to the game-winning touchdown. Pay attention, Mike Tomlin. When you don't have your best player out there, you must become more aggressive on the other side of the ball. One, also this goes for Ron Rivera. What are we doing, man? You're gonna scuttle the season because you signed Carson Wentz because management brought him in. Get Sam Howell in there already, for goodness sakes. That's a big meat-headed play to not even have the kid dressed in the game against the Eagles. If they throw him in there, this is time. Turn the page quickly, and in a mediocre NFC, you have a chance to make a push. I know it's funny, but they have a chance to, make a little run in
Sam
that
Howell
division.
in there. Cowboys are going to sack him 35 times. That'd be great. Put him whoever you want. It's going to be ugly. I bet
better than Carson Wentz, obviously, right?
I know. So you go Lions out of those 3. Yeah, I'm with Shaq there, Martin. And one thing I'll add to that, they went for 4th and 1. They didn't make it. That field goal kicker, that was a long field goal. That was terrible. Here's what got me crazy watching that game, Martin. They were up by 10 for most of the fourth quarter or going in the fourth quarter. How are you up 10 and you have no timeouts with 2 minutes left? So that's what the line. That was a Dan Campbell. That was crazy. You never.
There's a saying around Detroit, and it was there before I got there, since I've left, and will remain for a very long time. That was an SOL loss. Same old Lions. Mm-hmm. How did they do that? The answer: it's the Lions. I'm telling you, it's the Lions. That's the only answer that's logical. They dominated the entire game until the last 2 minutes. Except
I just didn't know how they didn't have timeouts. You're winning the game. Where are you calling these timeouts? But okay, that's the line. I will say though, out of the worst though, I thought, and it was inconsequential to the game, but Coach Staley, who still is up there for Coach of the Year odds, leaving Herbert in there, who's gotten beaten the snot out of him with a minute left in a 28-point game. What are you doing? Between the doctor and the coach, everybody wants this guy. Everybody wants to ruin Justin Herbert. I didn't understand that at all. So
that's a great call. And you have to put somebody on the field. So Jalen Guyton, I guess, is going to be out there. But with a minute left, a deep ball that, as you say, is inconsequential, costs him the rest of his season. And
is it Guyton? Isn't it Chase Daniel is it Chase Daniel, the backup?
Guyton is a receiver. You're right.
Yeah, he rips his knee on a deep ball.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, right.
By the way, another one I thought Marty was going to say, there's an old saying in Detroit, which is, let's steal the pizza from Sicily and claim it as our own.
Oh, that's a Detroit thing? That's SOL. That's Sicilian
Dave,
out of luck.
It was a bad take 4 years ago, and it's only just grown worse.
Yeah.
You can't watch a football game
Detroit
without
style pizza is Sicilian pizza. Well, I mean, how can you just claim
you
it's
can't
Star
watch
Cities?
A football game without Craig Robinson trying to shove a Detroit style pizza down your throat. It's between every break. Between that and John Hamm, I don't know how you're getting through football this year.
Martin,
Because John Hamm is
why don't
also
you
in almost every commercial break too.
I think that was a successful debut of Martin's Meathead of the week, and then you had to throw marinara sauce all over it at the end.